Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Playhouse Live, your weekly gaming news podcast where we go over all the past week in gaming and we talk about all the biggest headlines. And here's John.
Oh, what's up? What's happening? Also, give me a second. I forgot to hit record.
Okay. Good effort.
There we go.
There we go. Now that's
now good.
Important for the edit. Makes John's life easier. It doesn't bother me if you don't hit record. I done my bit. No, this is fine. How's everyone doing on this fine Sunday? We usually record these on Saturdays. We had to do Sunday for this week, but if you're watching Twitch chat next week, we'll be back on Saturdays is when we normally do it. John, how have you been?
Doing good. Taking care of everything left and right. You don't know how busy you are until you add more things onto your plate, and you're like, oh, I'm insane.
Taking care of business. Me and a bunch of my friends started a thing we've wanted to do for a really long time, which is I don't know if you're familiar with the WWE games. They used to have this mode called General Manager mode, where you'd be able to take control of the different shows and you'd be able to book matches and have your own like individual rosters and like basically fight each other, kind of like fantasy football in a way. And so we started doing that today. It's already got hated.
Okay. That's awesome, actually. I dig that.
My team is winning, though. Of course it is.
There you go. There you go.
But yes, this is where we break down the news of the games industry in the past week, and we're just going to jump right into it today because we got a few biggies. Number one today is we got our March NPDs, and with that, the realization that the PlayStation 5 is the fastest selling console in US history in both unit and dollar sales in lifetime sales with the first 5 months on market. Clarification, because that's confusing statistics. Some people thought that the PS5 has already outsold the lifetime units of the PlayStation 2. That's not what this means. Basically what they do is they take all of the consoles, see where they're at 5 months after they hit the shelves, and then compare them all. And out of that, PlayStation 5 is number one right now.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I'd be shocked, and congratulations, Sony, if you actually pulled that off. Lifetime sales of the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, in 5 months, that would be crazy.
In 5 months, I'm like, oh my god, how did we do that? We can't even get them.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? That's what's crazy. A lot of people, and shocked a lot of people when they heard this news, is that like the tale that's being told is that the PS5 is impossible to get because of the silicon shortage and scalpers, and it seems like it starts going in and it's going out, but despite all of that, it seems that the PS5 is just completely dominating in a year where the pandemic is just increasing like interest in video games across the board. When it has competition like the Switch and the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Games Pass on PC, like it has competition out the wazoo, it's still sold more than any other console has ever in its first 5 months.
Impressive. And I'm with you. Like, just something in my head doesn't line up. I still think it's cool, but yeah, like you can't find these things. So I understand how people are like just scratching their heads like, how did you pull this off?
I wonder would it have been a different story, John, if they were easier to get. Like, I don't know how supply and demand works. I'm not that type of business guy in my head, but it seems to me like if supply is short, then I want to get my PS5 immediately. Whereas if there were tons of PS5s out there and I knew they were waiting for me whenever I wanted to get one, I'd be like, hey, maybe I'm going to wait for a bit of a price dip. Maybe I'm going to wait for the game that I really want to come out before I get it so I can get the bundle or whatever. It seems like if you want a PS5 in the next year, you're going to have to snatch it as soon as possible because there's no guarantees, which might be driving sales up.
FOMO is a real thing. And so I would assume that's probably what it is like if the scalpers and the bots don't get it, people who actually want them have been just picking them up and just selling out. Like it's like every Wednesday we get like the PlayStation Direct from them sale that happens, and you just jump in their queue and pray to whatever video game god that you want to hopefully get a PlayStation
5. Worth noting here that Xbox no longer report sales of their units, haven't for a long time, so you can't really compare the two, but I guarantee you it's lower than the PS5.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, it is still hard to get a PS5. I remember in your Discord, Swiss was on that long winding tail Wario 64 tweets bombed at him, but he eventually got his.
Yes.
Now he actually got his pretty quickly when he decided he wanted one, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sort of all over the place. I still see a game Mario 64 tweeting and others tweeting like PS5's back in stock, and it really shouldn't be that way now that we're in April after this thing launched in November. But yeah, it's just this global silicon shortage, man. It's crazy.
I have a feeling I'm going to be going after another one here soon, so it should be fun.
You're going after another PS5? You're going after a digital?
Yeah, I'm going to get a digital version of it.
Okay. Yeah, that there might be some news for you later on in the even more news section, but we'll get to that. Some other stats that you might be interested in from the March NPDs. Nintendo Switch has sold the most units in the month of March 2021, outselling the PS5 that specific month. Also sold the most units in Q1 2021. So discounting December, November launch period for the PS5, January, February, March, Nintendo Switch sold the most units as well. But PS5 is still ranked number one in dollar sales in Q1 2021 because of the $200 price difference.
Yeah.
Just the way that works out. You got to make up like 2 Switches to beat a PS5. It's the way it is. We also have our list of top selling games for the month. John has not looked at these except for the first one. So I'm going to test them right now. So number 1 is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which is pretty weird.
Not shocking to anyone.
Not shocking, but also like, come on, it's like it was number 2 last month. It's coming back up in there, but it's probably just going to stay steady until the new one comes out. Whatever. What do you think number 2 is? What big games came out in March?
We had a couple good games come out in March. I'm going to go with Monster Hunter Rise. I see like that actually kind of picked up a lot of steam for a lot of people, and I think that probably did pretty good.
Monster Hunter Rise is, in fact, number 2. New entry on the list, very good. Number 1 selling on the Switch. Number 2 across all platforms. Number 3 surprised me, John, that it was number 3. What other big game came out this month? It was Game Pass Day 1. It was a game that sort of sat under the radar for a long time, but eventually did come out.
Outriders.
Outriders is number 3 across all platforms. Yeah. Also number 3 on Xbox and PlayStation individually.
Weird. Even with it being on Game Pass.
Yeah. This does not factor in Game Pass. So that's...
Oh, that's true. Yep.
People are buying Outriders on Xbox to the point where it's number 3 on their system.
Okay.
Why?
Why are you buying this when you should just invest in Game Pass and test it out yourself?
Number 4 was the first ranking title from last month, which I didn't actually know. Did it come out? Yeah, February. It was February. So, what do you think number 4 is? It's
3D World. Yeah, I remember 3D World NPD from last month. Yeah. That should be 3D World.
Super Mario 3D World is number 4. Number 5, it launched around the time of the PS5. It was a big blockbuster title.
Oh, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Spider-Man Miles Morales is correct. Number 6, John.
Okay.
What do you think number 6 is?
Are you going to give me a hint, or am I just kind of pulling...
Let me think what hints I can give you. It's a game that has been around the block. It's constantly in these NPDs, and it absolutely staggers me. For years and years upon years.
Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart 8 is number 6 on the March NPDs. Mario Kart 8 is also the best-selling racing game of all time in the US officially now.
Hey, all right. What was the first? Do you know what the first one was before it took that place?
I have no idea. I assume it was some sort of Gran Turismo or Mario Kart 7.
Yeah, actually, it could have been Mario Kart 7. I was going to take a jab at Crash Team Racing, but never mind. I'll hold that off on that one.
Yeah. Number 7, Ubisoft game launched with the Xbox Series X.
Valhalla.
Yep. Number 8, Rose's favorite game from 2020. Sorry, maybe second favorite game.
Okay, I was going to say, it can't be Spiritfarer, then it'll be New Horizons.
It's Animal Crossing New Horizons, yes, that is correct. Up from number 10 last month. Number 9, another, I'll just give you this one, another Mario game, but which one? Think about what was important about Mario in March, John?
3D All-Stars.
Yes. Mario died, and so we had to save him before he died.
which I still have in the plastic. I went ahead and did that. I bought a physical copy and it's still in the plastic.
And finally, number 10, it always has to be there. More of a platform than a game. Cubic in nature. Minecraft is number 10. Other little stat that you might be interested in, Crash Bandicoot 4 launched on the Switch, which bumped it to number 15 after being number 65 in February 2021, so that's selling well on the Switch. Goes to show that graphics don't matter for everyone. That game kind of looks like ass on the Switch. But you know what I mean? It's Crash Bandicoot, it's Nintendo, it's good. It's a good time. And yeah, just like generally, like go check out the Matt Piscatella's NPD thread on Twitter. He's got a lot of good stats on there. Basically, making more money than God. It was interesting to note that this is obviously the first month, March 2021, that can be compared to last year that was in lockdown.
Yes.
So this is the first month where we're like, okay, taking in lockdown as a factor, we're still doing even better than we were. So yeah, interesting. It's going to be interesting to see like if there's any dips in the next few months or so when the pandemic settles down, and we also have the sort of like gold rush from last year. Let's keep an eye out for the April NPDs. But in the meantime, we've got some more games to look forward to as E3 2021 starts to ramp up its big push towards June with announcing its media partnerships, John.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah. Road to E3 starts right now. This comes from an official press release on the E3 site. E3 2021 joins forces with industry media partners to extend its global reach. E3 today announced it's joined forces with IGN, Future Games, PC Gamer, Games Radar, GameSpot, Polygon, IGN China, and Games Bonfire, which I believe is another Chinese outlet or Latin American outlet.
I was like, I don't know Games Bonfire. What the hell is that one?
To extend its reach into video game fans worldwide with additional media and distribution partners to be announced. So yeah, doing the thing that sort of everyone expected them to do this time around is just straight up partnering with the media outlets. They obviously can't come to a physical booth this time, so they need to partner in some way. So yeah, John, immediately, does anything stick out to you from this article, this news? Were you expecting it? Were you not expecting it?
Actually, I wasn't expecting it. Like I didn't know how like the ESA and how they're all going to bring everything back together on E3 and what's that actually going to look like. But I actually kind of respect them going to like IGN, Future Games, all those places and be like, hey, let's just do it all together and we can like figure it out from there. Because you did it last year. We obviously couldn't because we didn't know what we were doing. So this is a weird good faith move in my opinion for E3. Because, I mean, we've all talked about it, like how much it's not a fan concept or fan idea, but we still all like watching it because we see all these cool games and all these announcements. So I actually dig that they went to the press instead of the press coming to them going, hey, let's just all band together. Let's get this kind of figured out, put it all out there for everyone. I'm assuming everyone's going to get a little bit of hosting duties some way or somehow. Mm-hmm. And I actually kind of like that. I think this is weird forward thinking, which is really weird for me to say from the ESA and E3.
Yeah. I like your sort of spirit of camaraderie take on it. I have a way more cynical tone where I'm sort of thinking about like the purpose of E3, right? And so last year with the absence of E3 and just generally you have publishers, you have media outlets, and you have E3 in the middle. What is stopping publishers just going directly with media outlets for their coverage? And the answer, John, is money. So what is happening normally in a normal year is the publishers are paying E3. I think this year E3 are also paying the media outlets to stick with them and not do their own thing. And that comes with the sort of announcements that like IGN's still doing Summer of Gaming or whatever they call it, but it's under E3's banner. There's no confirmation that money's changing hands here. That's just my take. I just think, there's...
I mean, you're not wrong. And it also just keeps E3 relevant, too. Because, I mean, last year we were able to show, or news outlets were able to show, you don't actually need the ESA and E3. Mm-hmm. The main thing that we got out of it is I knew when to take off of work and I could focus all the energy on those like 4 or 5 days instead of it being 2.5 months of just, okay, we're sitting waiting on something.
Yeah.
And I know this isn't counting in like Summer Game Fest with Jeff Keighley. He's just going to do his own thing, and we're going to pretty much react to it. But yeah, I think this kind of, I'll take the positive tone out of that one. Just brings everything together, makes E3 relevant again with the news outlets. I wouldn't be surprised if there is some like truth to what you said, like, hey, you're doing this, IGN, I'll use IGN, we'll give you a little bit of money and then you can cover insert game here or something like that. I mean, I can only imagine how hard this is to kind of put together and string each line between all these news outlets. So there's got to be a give and take on both sides.
Yeah. It's definitely like the biggest winner here is the people like us, the people who are watching this stuff and keeping locked to it, and like casual onlookers as well, because like as you said, John, last year it was all hectic. Everyone wanted to do their own thing. It was all separate. It was all in their own time. There seems to be a real concerted effort from everyone in the industry, like by hook or by crook, we will get this to a week or like a month maximum.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's like getting all these media partners to be in on it. Getting like the publishers that we know about, Ubisoft, Microsoft, Nintendo, and all these other ones that they could wrangle in for their press conferences to take place during the week of official E3. Seems to be this real concerted effort to like, because it's easier for people to understand, right? E3 is a week and there's going to be a bunch of games instead of this whole Summer Games Fest thing where it's like, what? Like Konami are having their own event? Like what? On a random Tuesday way forward or making an announcement that they're making a Digimon, or no, it wasn't Digimon, Bakugan game. Like it was so hard to follow. And I think this is good for everyone.
Yeah, that's like there is a balance. Let's be honest. We know that there is a balance. There's a difference between a drip feed and just opening up the faucet, and all of us are kind of okay with the faucet being open when it comes to E3. We're gonna have little drips a couple weeks before and then a little after, but I mean, this is the meal. This is the big chunk of everything, and it really, I'll even say personally for me, I was exhausted. After covering everything, because we literally would get, all right, you're gonna get a 15-minute teaser in this one. Come back in a month and we'll give you another 15-minute teaser. And I'm like, just give me the damn trailer. That's all I want now. You can tease me once and then give me what I need after that.
That first Inside Xbox made me so mad because there was no point to it from last year. Oh my god.
Yep.
They had a quote from the ESA here once this partnership was announced. They said, "We are focused on ensuring that E3 continues to be the most innovative and collaborative event in the video game industry. So enlisting some of the industry's biggest media partners to help deliver the highly anticipated news, reveals, and more is crucial to a successful showcase. Each media partner will be instrumental in driving E3's reach to more fans than ever before, which with this year's digital format, we're looking to provide our audience with exciting and unique ways to experience the magic of E3. And yeah, that's part of it as well, John, is like, I think E3 are asking for help with this. Because like this is the first time they're doing an all-out digital showcase. And IGN and all these companies and Games Radar and stuff, they're like sort of versed in delivering digital content to their people, and they got big amounts of audience coming to them every day. So I think E3 is asking for distribution help. They're making sure that when we announce trailers, when we have like streams running around the clock, they get to the people we need them to get to.
And this is just kind of what you do on Twitch. I mean, you do collaborations, and a community learns about a new community, and you get some cross-pollination on it. That's exactly what this is, just in a bigger form with bigger companies.
Yeah. Like I'm excited about the vision of the E3 week that I'm drafting in my head, where it's like I go to E3's Twitch channel and there's like gameplay demos happening, or like weird competitions or whatever happening. I go to IGN, there's developer interviews happening. I go to Games Radar, there's like a big write up on stuff over there. Like everyone doing their own like little bit of specialist stuff to like help make this event make sense. I think it's going to be really, really good. With this news also, we have the announcement of our first 2/3 press conferences of the event. First, Ubisoft Forward is set for June 12th, 12 p.m. Pacific time. And PC Gaming Show and the Future Games Show are doing a double header on June 13th. PC Gaming Show is sort of like divisive. It's long-winded for sure. I like it. Yeah. It's my sort of like, in the time where we did have this big, like 3 days of E3 non-stop action, PC Gaming Show was the time where I sort of chilled out and like just sort of took a breather. So I always liked it for that. And if we are going for a more condensed event, I'm glad we have a PC gaming show to fall back on. And yeah, Future Game Show has still been doing its thing. It had a spring showcase not long ago. It's still kicking around that brand. So yeah, the calendar, it's filling up, John. E3's coming, and it relents for no one. Still no word on what Sony, Activision, and EA are doing, as they are not official partners with the event. But I imagine if they're doing events at all, they'll try and frame it around that time, so that they don't miss out on all the hype. That's the thing as well. If you start like bringing in all the cool kids to do this event in 1 week, like Sony has to show up.
Yeah,
even
exactly.
if they're not part of E3.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
It's coming back. Everyone's coming to the party. Sony, where are you?
Yeah, really rooting for this to succeed. Speaking of press conferences and showcases, we had 2 this week. First of all is the Nintendo Indie World Showcase. I don't know if you watched this, John. Me and Keith and Tim did a reaction stream to it, which you can now watch on Playhouse YouTube channel. It's over there in VOD form. Just like a tasty, fine indie world. And it's just like a couple of good games shown there. They started off with Road 96, which was shown at the Xbox indie thing that happened a while ago. I was interested in that. All the Other World looked cool as hell. They had a few shadow drops. The Longing, There Is No Game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was there. Chris Tales was there, which I love to see, and I can't wait for that game to come out. And then they ended with their one more thing of Oxenfree 2, which I'm very, very excited about, because I loved Oxenfree 1.
I need to play Oxenfree 1. I tried for a little bit. I think I only got about 10 minutes in. I was like, okay, not... Because I wasn't prepared for what kind of game it actually was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. So I kind of jumped off of it real fast. But yeah, I need to get back into it because I've heard nothing but just good things.
Yeah. Very, very slow-paced game, very story-heavy. Sort of coming-of-age stuff with some sci-fi elements in there. And yeah, I'm interested to see this. Apparently takes 5 years after. So I'm interested to see where that goes with it. And yeah, anything Night School do, I'm in on. So yeah, we already have a reactions video up for that if you want to dive more into that. Also, I have an article up on playhouse.news where you can see everything that got announced, all the trailers, all the descriptions of those games, so go check that out if you missed it. And yeah, they had the Resident Evil showcase for April 2021, where they showed off a little bit of Village. Just run through the headlines here, and then we could talk about what you played of the demo. So yeah, they did announce more Resident Evil Village time-limited demos. Either one big demo, if you're on all platforms, lasting 60 minutes, or split into 2 30-minute demos that you get early if you're on PlayStation, one of which is out right now, still?
Believe it's done, actually.
It's done? Okay.
As of this recording, it should be done. I think it ended about like 1 o'clock this morning.
First one, you missed it, unless you get the one that's coming out for all platforms in a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, PlayStation, you just get early access to demos. Resident Evil Village is getting a Mercenaries mode, which I think is a multiplayer mode.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Not sure. I don't play many Resident Evil games. New look at Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, which is the Netflix show. Takes place 2 years after Resident Evil 4 and is set in the White House. More Dead by Daylight X Resident Evil collaborations coming in June 2021. That'll be no doubt at some E3 thing. Just like showing up. And then the weird one at the very end, Resident Evil 4 VR has been announced. It is exclusive to Oculus. More details coming on April 21st. Do you want to talk about that first? We'll get into the Resident Evil Village demo, but like that's such a... Why that is there?
That was out of like left field, just like, wait, you're doing what? All right. I mean, cool. I mean, people will play. Everyone love like there is not anyone I've ever met that has played the Resident Evil games and like absolutely hated 4.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. So this is just, all right, well, I guess people are going to buy an Oculus now so they can play Resident Evil 4 in VR.
Mm-hmm. Resident Evil, though, in VR. It worked with Resident Evil 7, but that's first person. This is some weird nonsense. Exclusive to Oculus is so weird to me. That screams to me that Capcom didn't want to make this, but Oculus gave them money. And like they were like, okay, we'll make you something. Well, Resident Evil 4, we'll bring that out. Give it to him.
Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
We can't do anything wrong with it.
And it's weird because, like, as far as I know, Resident Evil 4 is still being remade. So,
yeah.
they're trying to like not tell people like, hey, if you want to play Resident Evil 4 right now, go play this VR version. Go buy yourself a Facebook Oculus. Yeah, just weird, but more details coming out on April 21st, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned to the Oculus Facebook page. In the meantime, John, you've been playing the Resident Evil Village demo, the first one. How has that treated you?
I freaking loved it, actually. I've not played very many Resident Evil games. I'm probably halfway through 7. That is my extent of Resident Evil and the movies. Rose reminded me last night going, oh, don't forget, you got to play the Resident Evil demo. It goes away early this morning. I was like, okay. We jumped into it, downloaded it on the PS5, and that is a PlayStation 5 game.
Whoa.
The draw distances alone just blew me away. You're literally in the very beginning of the village, and they're trying to make you run around real fast, get a feel for the snow and how everything's working. And as I'm kind of looking, it is 30 minutes. If you pause the game, your timer still keeps on going. And so it was kind of like a quick, I just got to blitz the whole thing and figure out what to do after that. And as I'm looking around, there's like mountains in the foreground. And I'm just like, wait, can I see fire? And I was like, Rose, look at the fire. And you could actually see the fire moving digital miles away from us, where, I mean, it was really small and the fire was moving. And I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. There was a part where I was in some wheat and you could hear something hunting you. And I actually got a little freaked out. I will be absolutely honest. Like, you're walking and all of a sudden you just hear this growling and you see just something walking through these field of wheat and you're like, oh God, I'm going to die. And it turns up from there and you're like, this is insane. These people are crazy. It looks gorgeous. And I'm buying this game.
It's like in the wait, you just hear him, and it's Mark Zuckerberg wearing an Oculus, and he's like, "Play Resident Evil 4." Digital Miles, by the way, John, another name that we could have had instead of Playhouse.
Oh man,
Digital Miles is a good one.
Great.
Yeah.
That covers a lot of things.
No, yeah, I was interested to play this as a visual showpiece. I was definitely interested to jump in the first demo and this demo because of that. I am just a wussy pants. Cannot stand it. I played 30 seconds, a minute and 30 seconds of the first Resident Evil Village demo. Nothing happened. Nothing jumped out and scared me. I was just in this eerie basement. I was like, no, it's too much. The water looks too real on the floor. I can't do it.
Yep. It's you got attacked by lichens. I can say that because it was actually it's in the trailer, and they are freaky.
Yeah,
and it was fun. Like I am excited to play Resident Evil Village.
So in the demo, they had this freaking tall lady eating out your hand or something, and that's been stirring social media ablaze. Did that happen in the demo, or is that they're going to make you pay for that?
No, we didn't see Lady Dimitrescu.
I have no idea.
I'm waiting for Rose to run into my office and be like, no, it's this. But yeah, we didn't see her at all. We actually got a better feeling of what is going on in the village and like the chaos that is in the village and maybe a disease that's going on. It was very interesting. And I kind of like the little nuggets, if you will, it's a Resident Evil game. So you actually kind of have to search for the story a little bit.
Yeah.
And so they did a really good job of like having little letters here and we're missing a person and just shit goes sideways. Like when you're in a building with people and you're like, I don't know what's happening. I love this. This is great. Give me more.
Damn. Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever be sold in that game. The more I hear about it, the more I don't want to play it, John, because I just know if I get to the point in playing it where I'm too invested and can't back out of the scares, then that's a problem. But yeah, I'm totally on board with the way Capcom are doing this with these playable demos. More games should do this, to be honest.
Yes, it is. It is the better way to build hype around it. I mean, it's Resident Evil. There's already people hyped about it, but it's been nice to like me, who's not a Resident Evil fan, get in there going, okay, I understand what you're doing now. I'm invested, which in turn is making me look back at the original games and go, okay, I guess I do need to play that to understand the overarching story, if you will.
Yeah. Do you think Capcom knew how pun intended, big lady Demetru would become.
No, not a chance in hell.
Or do you think they saw like the reaction to the initial trailer and like, we gotta make this all tall lady game?
Yes.
We gotta make this all tall lady. As much content as possible. Get in the studio, remote cabin this.
Like we found out collectively how horny the internet is by Tall Mommy. And you're like, this is weird. No disrespect. I dig it. You do you, boo. And Capcom's probably going, what the hell is wrong with people? Give them more and keep the hype building. Build the hype train as big as Lady Dimitrescu.
You're monsters. You're all the real monsters.
Oh, cool. Dimitrescu. Thank you. It's in chat.
Oh, sick. Why is... Okay. Chat's being weird for me again. It's fine. I'll just deal with it. Moving on to our next big headline now. Absolute shocker. Netflix wants more video game content. This is actually a story of two parts I broke into one big story, but sort of has a continued theme. First of which, via the New York Times, Sony Pictures is entering a streaming deal with Netflix. Sony Pictures Entertainment has signed a 5-year deal that will give the streaming giant the exclusive US rights to Sony films once they leave the theaters and premium on video on demand services. This includes the 2022 Uncharted movie of myth and legend eventually coming out. And also, like all other Sony movies, not just PlayStation IPs, will include Into the Spider-Verse whenever that comes out and is not in theaters anymore. This is sort of like more general for Netflix in that they saw that Sony is like one of the only companies that doesn't have their own streaming service, and they're like, mine, because we need content. But I feel like this is important in that Sony's messaging recently of like, we're making the Ghost of Tsushima movie, we're making Last of Us HBO series, and we want to turn basically everything into every successful IP we have into like film adaptation or TV adaptation of some kind. I think Netflix is looking at this and going like, hey, video games are an amazing tool for generating known IP, as opposed to like having to make a movie and then having to make a sequel to that and then have that be successful and then making a franchise out of that. Video games, you have a bunch of IP franchise names that are ready to go and just need to be adapted. And I feel like Netflix and other companies, HBO, Hulu, looking at that and they're going, yes, more of that, please.
Yeah.
And sort of comes to fruition with Castlevania released a new trailer. It's ending with season 4. However, Netflix does say they want more Castlevania content, but different characters, same universe stuff. So like Castlevania is doing really well for them and they want more of it, even if it doesn't make any sense to continue that series. And I imagine they're maybe in talks with Konami for more of their properties. I don't know if we're getting a Metal Gear anime or whatever is coming, but
I heard we're supposed to be getting a Devil May Cry anime by the same producer, writer, and all that stuff of Castlevania. And I know in season 3 you can actually see Dante's sword in the background of Castlevania. You can actually see his sword in there. So I was under the impression that they were trying to connect those worlds. Maybe I'm wrong.
Devil May Cry and Castlevania?
I mean, yeah.
What? One's Capcom, one's Konami.
Yeah, I know, but I was under the impression, and I'm probably completely wrong. I do know Devil May Cry is coming. I'm 100% sure of that one on Netflix, but I know that I know Dante's sword is in season 3 of Castlevania. So I don't know if that's just the nod of the production side going, hey, it's coming, or are they trying to blend a universe together? That part I don't know, but I know that the guy that developed Castlevania is developing Devil May Cry for Netflix.
When Trevor Belmont comes in riding a motorcycle, splits in 2, and uses those as weapons, I'll believe it, John. Caleb in chat says, unpopular opinion, Telltale should partner with Netflix and port all of their games to the service as interactive movies / shows like they did with Minecraft Story Mode Season 1. I wonder if they're interested in that after like Bandersnatch, how well that had.
Yeah, there it is.
Didn't hear more of that. I don't know where Telltale's at right now, Caleb. I was looking at their YouTube channel and they were like dormant for like 3 months, and then they came back announcing that the Wallace and Gromit collection is coming to re-release on Steam and it's out now. and that's all they've mentioned. And so, like, I've been like, okay, Telltale's back, but it's Wallace and Gromit.
Is it like so? Telltale died, and then it got bought and brought back, but it's not. It's like new Telltale. So
yeah. So as far as I know, Telltale went bust. Someone bought the rights to Telltale, and that's who's publishing the Wallace and Gromit game.
Yeah.
And then there is it People Can Fly? That is the actual, like, got it Telltale staff now working on
oh, yeah. God, is that
the rest of the
right.
Walking Dead stuff? Is it People Can Fly? I think something about that name sticks in my head. I'm going to Google that right now.
Because I know Skybound, which is Robert Kirkman, the guy who created The Walking Dead. He bought I thought he bought the rights back, and he decided to just take what was left and finished Telltale's The Walking Dead like season 3 or 4 under Skybound. And I'm with you. People Can Fly is ringing a bell in my head, and I do not remember
no,
why.
People Can Fly's Outriders. Skybound is what I was looking for there. Skybound Entertainment.
Yeah, Skybound is actually the publisher of The Walking Dead and is Robert Kirkman's publisher. So, yeah, okay. All right, cool.
Yeah. Skybound game finished Walking Dead. Got it. Yeah. That was the one I was looking for. So, yeah, it just seems like Netflix eyeing up those TV deals. HBO clearly eyeing up those TV deals with The Last of Us. And, yeah, there's just more of these coming. I think we did one of the first, like, topics on this. I think we said, like, what would we adapt into, or maybe that was Playdate. We said, what will we adapt into film or TV?
It was Playdate. I remember. Yeah, it was you, me, and Rose. We did a Playdate of what would we want to see.
Yeah.
Because it was right around The Witcher, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the guy who did Castlevania to do Hyper Light Drifter. I don't know what's happening with that, but he said he was doing that a while ago. Now that's not happening, I guess.
Yeah.
I was looking up what other video game series are on Netflix just right now. Turns out, Sonic Boom was on Netflix, and I just didn't know. I totally would have watched that.
Oh, the game sucked, but
the series is amazing. The series is hilarious. It's so self-referential and so, like, Sonic fandom. It's like the Sonic Twitter account, but they gave it a budget. So good.
All right.
Yeah. Like, Knuckles is like a himbo. I don't. He's just the best. It's so funny. Constant memes coming out of that show. More businessy talk now as we move on to our next story. Sony invests a further $200 million in Epic Games. This is part of Epic's recently announced $1 billion funding report to support Epic's long-term vision and the metaverse. Today, Epic Games announced they completed $1 billion round in funding, which will allow the company to support future growth opportunities. Epic's equity valuation is now $28.7 billion US. And yeah, this round includes an additional $200 million strategic investment from the Sony Group Corporation, which builds on an already close relationship between the two companies and reinforces their shared mission to advance the state of art in technology, entertainment, and socially connected online services. John, does anything in this article or this sort of news speak to you in that Sony's investing a hell of a lot of money in Epic Games right now, as most people tend to be?
I mean, they have Unreal, and when we saw the Unreal 4 engine demo, it was running on a PlayStation 5, so this actually just makes a lot of sense to me. I see why they're doing it. If you're going to fund what people can use to make your games and make you money on that end, it's the weird, I'm going to spend a little money to make a lot of money. And I mean that in the sense of $200 million is probably a drop in the hat for Sony.
The thing that stuck out to me with this, John, is you remember the big sort of talking point in gaming podcasts and news podcasts last week was the sort of discussion around Sony being risk averse, right? Not funding Days Gone 2 and these other things, and not being as, generous with how they spread their funding out to smaller games and reshuffling Japan's studio stuff. That was the first thing that came to my head when I saw this, because I was thinking about Sony's relationship with Unreal Engine, and also, like, the PS5 in general. The big sort of talk around the specs of the PS5 at the start was, okay, it can do a lot of cool things that the Series X seemingly can't do. However, it's going to be limited to first-party publishers who can take full advantage of this system. And I think the strength with investing this much in Unreal and keeping those ties close is making sure that Unreal is built to take full advantage of the PS5 to everyone. We know like Unreal is free to everyone up to a certain point in funding, and then you got to pay royalties. But largely, it's accessible there to everyone, indie developers, big studios. It's an industry standard, and like we have these constant stories of like these big game studios failing because they're insistent on making their own engine for no reason when Unreal 4 will just do it the same thing. And so I think what people are missing about the Sony thing, and it's like, they're not funding games like VidRibbon anymore. They're not funding Gravity Rushes or Days Gone 2s or whatever. It's like, Sony are risk averse, but they're entitled to be with how well they're doing. But they're also like not leaving the platform behind. And I think they're just waking up to what the ecosystem of gaming is like. It's not the way it was during the PS3 era, where you did need to have a spotlight shone on these smaller games and fund all these weird projects. Nowadays, with digital distribution, self-publishing, everyone can publish their weird niche game that nobody's ever heard of on PS5
Steam
store and Steam and whatever, and they can get their name out there through social media or whatever. And so I think what Sony's saying is, no, we won't invest in Gravity Rush or Ape Escape or VidRibbon or any of these weird artsy games anymore. But we are investing in the tools so that indies come to our platform and they can do so easily, and it can take full advantage of the PS5 so that we don't have to make that risk, because we know indies are going to anyway. And to those people, consumers out there who want those indie games, you're not just getting the Sony stuff anymore where we could put out like 3 or 4 or 5 a year. You're getting the entire slew of indies, and we're just supporting them to do the weird shit. So like, I think that's what comes to mind right now, is that Sony is trying to make sure that Unreal Engine 5 is taking full advantage of the PlayStation ecosystem so that everyone from indies to AAAs to quadruple A's, if you're Microsoft, can just like do whatever they want on PS5 and don't need to worry about like making their own proprietary engine for some reason. Because like Epic themselves, they're using this funding and they're pumping it directly into Unreal. And it's just making it better and better and adding more and more tools to it and stuff.
I mean, I can see where you're going with that too, because you're really funding the foundation that people can actually build upon to play their games. And then I think about like the Decima engine, which that's what Horizon and Kojima used. I don't remember off the top of my head. Did Naughty Dog, did they have their own engine, or did they use Unreal?
Last of Us 2 uses their own engine for sure.
They have their own engine. Okay.
Anything Sony first party, will be
have
using
their own engine. So correct me if I'm wrong. So a Sony first party does not use Unreal.
Fair enough. Yes, they don't. But
okay, and I follow the let's fund to make sure Unreal is free. Or all right, you want to come to PlayStation, use Unreal. It's free for you until the point, like you said. I still find this interesting because, I mean, what does that mean? Like, if Sony's investing into Unreal, are they going to, I mean, they know it's a sure thing, it's Unreal, and they've already shown us that they don't really want to do risks. So are they going to start pushing their first parties to Unreal? This is putting on a tinfoil hat right now, which I don't see why they would. Decima's great. The Uncharted engine, I really don't remember what it's called. That runs fine.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like, it's a weird positive for Sony to do that with Unreal, but it's like, why? And I think this is going to be one of those we're going to have to wait and see concept, because they're pumping $200 million into this, but they can't give $200 million to one of their first party studios to make a sequel.
Yeah, well, that's I get where you're coming from that. That's a really good point that you brought up. I don't envision a world where, Sony is moving like Naughty Dog and Santa Monica to Unreal Engine for any of their games. But I think that's sort of the exception rather than the rule, where these big titles need to be at the bleeding edge of what the PS5 can do. It needs to constantly be innovating on itself. And so I think that the investment in like proprietary engines are worth it for that. But as you mentioned, like, the reason that like Kojima's game didn't take 10 years, right? Death Stranding didn't take 10 years was because they were building off the back of an engine that was ready to go, and they just worked off what Guerrilla did with Horizon before, and they were able to ship out because they didn't have to work on their own engine. Like, you read Jason Schreier's new book came out, the sequel to Blood, Sweat and Pixels. Can't remember the name of it for the life of me. God damn it, Jason Schreier. Go buy Schreier's new book because he's really good. But a common theme that comes up in those stories of troubled development is that they were really insistent on building their own proprietary engine, and it just stunted development, right? Like, you saw it with BioWare and Anthem and having to use the Frostbite engine for no good reason when they could have just used Unreal. Crash 4 used Unreal, and it looks really, really good, and they didn't have to make their own engine for that, and it runs in 60 FPS. But, like, you think about that story where the Visual Arts and Service Group tried to remake The Last of Us, and Herman Hulse thought it was too expensive because they want to use The Last of Us 2's graphical engine. Yeah. But say they weren't remaking The Last of Us 2, say they were remaking something a little less sacred. They could just say, hey, we'll just make it an Unreal. And that cuts development time by like 3 years, cuts costs. I think you could see a world where, like, okay, maybe not Santa Monica, maybe not Naughty Dog, maybe not Guerrilla, but some of the smaller teams, Housemarque, whatever, you know, they could be
what do they
moved
use?
to Unreal. They might use Unreal. I have no idea. Let me look up what
I don't know. I just,
Returnal is using.
And Jason Schreier's book is called Press Restart, Ruin and Recovery in the Video Game Industry.
Yeah.
I was also, like, well, what is it?
Returnal is on Unreal Engine 4. So that's an example of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Like,
all right. So yeah, then there is that. All right, our double A's are not fully exclusive parties that you're just going to make a game that's going to be exclusive on PlayStation. You're not an actual first party. Then yeah, okay. Then I follow that one because it was just it seems weird, perception wise, looks odd that Sony's doing this, but no, we don't want a remake of The Last of Us in the engine that was built. The money was invested in it.
Yeah.
It's already done. The engine's there. Yeah, you can iterate on it, but the engine's there. But no, we're not going to give you the $200 million. We're not going to do that just because we think it's too expensive. By the way, Epic, $200 million for Unreal. Here you go.
Yeah.
And the perception of that one just seems off. And this is, again, it's going to play out down the road of like, okay, that's why you're doing that. And for all we know, you're right. It's going to be, screw it. Couchcapades makes a development team, and we're like, what do we do? Well, screw it. Epic is running fine. We know Epic works.
Yeah.
Let's just use Unreal.
Yeah. Genuinely, I think that is your best bet. Like, until you're at the level of a Sony IP, I'd say even like all of Microsoft's first party studios could benefit from just like saying, hey, for this one, we're just going to use Unreal. It's there. It's ready to go. We can make a game. Like, not every game needs to be stupidly complex.
No, absolutely not.
What did you ask for? I
could have sworn. I think Gears of War still runs on Unreal, doesn't it?
Gears of War. So obviously, Gears of War aren't made by Epic anymore. So I wonder.
Yeah, because it's the Coalition.
Gears 5 released. Yeah, it runs on Unreal Engine 4. So yeah, there's an example. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, positive wise, you're spinning the perception. Sony's investing in a system and in an engine that people use that makes money, and people get to play games. Yeah.
In completely unrelated news to the Sony investing in Epic Games, Aloy has been added to Horizon Zero Dawn.
That is weird.
Yeah, totally unrelated.
There's the metaverse too.
She looks good.
She's cartoony, and I'm okay with it, actually.
Yeah. Everyone makes a meme of like their favorite characters come onto Fortnite. They all look good. Kratos look good. Yeah. Lara Croft looks good. Aloy looks good. Stop complaining.
Play your games. Yeah. Fortnite's free. I don't know if the skin costs money. I actually don't remember.
I think it's just a season pass thing. I think you just get to play as Aloy or whatever.
Okay. I'm cool with it. I mean, everyone's coming to Fortnite. Again, this is the place that you can have Batman fight Wolverine while Master Chief is shooting at you and Kratos kicks his ass. Like, that's the metaverse. That is all video games collectively coming together, kind of like Smash Brothers.
What's the last video game that Epic made? Do they still have internal development anymore? Is that a thing that they do?
Ooh.
I don't think they do. I definitely haven't heard of
yeah.
it. I don't think they have since, obviously, Fortnite.
Yeah. I think Fortnite was the last one that they've internally developed.
Yeah, and I guess they don't need to anymore. But I was just thinking, like, unless it is like a Fortnite thing where they're trying to like target multiple platforms, I think like if Unreal or Epic decide to make like a new game, you could probably see it branded under PlayStation Studios. Like they're not Sony does not have the money to buy Epic outright, but they can just like be buds with them. And it's like not in their interest to say like, hey, Unreal Engine's exclusive to PS5 games now. Like it's better to have that out there and just foster these developers across all platforms. But like, yeah, it's not something that like you can see as an immediate benefit from this investment. But like, yeah, it definitely does do good for the long term in Sony's eyes. I've seen people saying Sony is playing 5D chess to compete with Microsoft's recent success. I just don't see it. I'm saying that as a PlayStation fanboy. Yeah, that's a whole other thing where it's like, I think it was Jeff Grubb at GamesBeat sort of was saying that the perception of Sony this generation and Jim Ryan, as opposed to the perception around who was leading up the team like Sean Layden, Jack Trinton, Andrew House from the PS4 generation, like there's definitely like a rift there, and that people don't seem as keen on Jim Ryan, and that is important in gamers' heads for some reason that doesn't seem to translate to sales because PS5 is selling like hotcakes. It's weird right now. I definitely do think stories do matter a bit, but like it's only to like weirdos like us who have podcasts talking about this stuff. To the general public, PS5, hey, God of War 2 is coming out, great.
Exactly. Yeah. Who's Jim Ryan again? You're like, that's too deep. Let's not talk about that.
Speaking of mergers and acquisitions and hot topics, Square Enix acquisition rumors have been shut down immediately. Yeah. Shut down immediately. This comes our way via Bloomberg, who initially reported the rumors. They say Final Fantasy Maker jumps on report it could be a merger and acquisition target. Square Enix Holdings Co. rose 12% on Friday, the most in 8 months after the report that the deal news website CTFN, which said two unidentified bankers, Square Enix said it had not received any proposals and wasn't thinking of a sale. We do not consider selling off the company or any part of its business, nor have we received any offer for any third party to acquire the company or any part of the business. Quite definitive, would you say, John?
Yeah. That's no.
Yeah, they didn't allow time for this story to breathe or people to speculate at all. They were immediately press released that morning. No one's buying us. Amid increasing competition for the biggest exclusive properties and a surge in revenue as a result of the pandemic, merger and acquisition activity in the video game sector has been growing. 2020 saw almost $25 billion in deals, according to data compiled by Bloomberg, the bulk of which was made up by Microsoft's $7.5 billion acquisition of Bethesda, the maker of the Elder Scrolls, blah, 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 blah. EA also bought Take-Two Interactive, or EA topped a rival offer from Take-Two Interactive. They didn't buy Take-Two, that would be ridiculous. They bought Codemasters for $1.2 billion. Basically, the point the article is making here is that, yeah, like, money's going up across the whole gaming industry. People are saying now's a good time to sell, now's a good time to buy. And so, like, the mere mention that Square Enix might be selling was enough to make shareholders go, ooh, money. Ooh, money. John, who would have bought Square Enix and why? Who has this money? Who has this capital?
Microsoft. 100% Microsoft.
Okay. Right after Bethesda, though. Like, immediately.
Like, well, I mean, so Bethesda, you've got your, like, Western RPG concepts. You couple that with your JRPG concepts, Microsoft becomes a powerhouse beyond anything we could ever have imagined. It would have made sense for, like, Square Enix to go to Sony. That, I mean, the partnerships there, we get that. But for, like, Papa Phil to come out of nowhere and be like, all right, we gave him $7 billion for Bethesda. Let's go $10 billion for Square Enix. And they
just
get
throw
Final
an extra
Fantasy
$2.5 billion on there.
I don't care. Like, so we get a revenue cut of Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 17 is exclusive online, and Final Fantasy 7 Remake comes instantly to Xbox Game Pass. I just made Microsoft billions.
It sounds like it cost them billions. You were just throwing out $10 billion like right there.
Yeah.
No, for real.
I mean,
I have a conspiracy theory that.
Oh God.
No, it's just a small one. It's just a thing that was in my mind that like Microsoft are like intentionally linking to different press things that they're thinking of buying people to try and drive up interest and stock price in themselves. Like right now, Microsoft are reportedly buying Discord, Kojima Productions, and Square Enix, among others. So like, why not just like say, hey, we might buy this guy. You don't know that we won't. You don't know. I don't think anyone would have bought Square Enix. I think Square Enix are unbuyable. That might come back to bite me in the ass in a year's time, but for me, anything that's like publicly traded seems completely off limits to me. Or like if they were thinking of like maybe some investment in Square Enix, they would dip their toe in. They would like invest shares at a time. They wouldn't just go all in like this. Yeah, to me, like Square Enix just being this publicly traded entity in the Japanese market just says to me like no one's buying it. Like no one could buy it.
I'm looking at Microsoft's stock market or stock prices right now and just looking through it going, okay, at the end of April 14th, they were at $255 a share.
Yeah.
They opened the next day, and about an hour in, they went to about 260 and then jumped up again. Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's pretty funny. Let's just throw Microsoft's name in there because they have a lot of freaking money.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been interesting because that would have been a very like cool thing to do to cover their bases because I know you and I talked about it. They're still trying to get to Japan. They're still trying to get that market.
Yeah.
And they haven't yet. And getting Square Enix would have gotten them like a literal first class ticket to that market.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see it out of the realm of possibility. Obviously, they shut it down.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like Square's not going to go anywhere. I highly doubt that anyone's going to like buy them. Like we could be eating our lunch next week. I don't know, but I doubt it.
Do you think it's just a Japanese businessman's honor thing? Like for me, if I see like questions of like whether or not I'm being sold and the stock price is going up, I like let that fester for a few days, and I just like, hey, I'm not saying one way or the other, whatever. But it seems like they were like, no, we're not being bought. No, never.
I think it's a little bit of that. I think it's probably also you got to factor in your shareholders because if the stock market come up, I'm sure people were like, wait, we're selling? Who are we selling to? What's happening? What's going on with the stock? Are we gonna what's going on with this? It's jumping. This is a good thing. Are we actually doing this? And you don't want to piss off your investors.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh no, we got to shut this down. We're not doing this. I think that was one, probably an honor thing, just because they are a business. Two, they didn't want to piss off their investors in the sense of, hey, we're selling, get ready for it, and you're going to get more stock from Microsoft or whatever.
Yeah. It's interesting Kayla brings up in chat. I do think it's concerning that Microsoft's solution to everything is throw money at it. Like, Bethesda's games are fun, but Fallout 76 was a dumpster fire, and a lot of their games are riddled with bugs at launch. Yeah, it's more about content than quality, but like now that they are first party, they can focus more on quality. It's sort of a double-edged sword in that way. But yeah, it is this thing where we were talking about it a few weeks on the show, where when you're a business of that side and you have that much goddamn money, it is way more efficient for you to just say, hey, we'll buy this thing than to try and make a whole other new thing. Yeah. It's just the way it is. And so, yeah, their answer right now to everything is, yeah, if we don't feel we can compete, we'll just buy the competition. That's just the way it goes. And I was looking at their Square Enix market cap right now, 845 billion yen, which would place them at a valuation of $7.7 billion. So around a Bethesda. They can make it work. Yeah, they'd probably need to go a little bit above the market cap as well. So $10 billion not out of the realm of possibility. Could happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, similarly, Microsoft are buying everything, so why not? I do think, yeah, they're the only one that could probably buy them, if anyone.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like when you think about what Microsoft is actually, their in-house studios taking Bethesda out of this right now, is they've got the Coalition. I want to say it's the Coalition doing the new Perfect Dark. Mm-hmm. We know we're getting a Forza this year, and we've got Gears.
Uh-huh.
That off the top of my head, those are the first party developers that are under Microsoft Studios. Everything else is like second party that Microsoft Studios is just publishing. But like I know Ori and the Will of the Moon Studios, they're not a Microsoft company.
Mm-hmm.
They're not Microsoft owned. So it's one of those things. I get it. And I mean, if you got the money, you can grab it. Yeah, Fallout 76 was a dumpster fire. I'm pretty sure Microsoft factored that in when they were like, we're going to buy this, and the money we're going to get out of this in the long term comparative to the bad press that is Fallout 76 is just gains upon gains, because it's Phil Spencer. Mm-hmm. Phil Spencer's the new Reggie Fils-Aimé. Let's be absolutely honest. And so those two coming together, weirdly enough, Phil Spencer has enough clout and enough gamer forward thinking that just kind of evens out that Fallout 76 where it's like, okay, Bethesda happened, but now Microsoft, Xbox owns Bethesda, and now they're going to give them more money and where they can really focus on making better games.
Mm. I'm looking here. It was Christopher Ding on the Games Industry, from Games Industry Biz on the VGC Off the Record podcast. They were talking about Microsoft's first-party studios. He says Everwild, Perfect Dark, Fable are so far away, as in they might even be in a new Xbox by the time these games come out far away. And when you look at Hideo Kojima stuff, you wonder if they're signing third parties in the moment because they don't have a lineup with big exclusives at all.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason going back to the Bethesda stuff, where it's like, yeah, Microsoft Studios, they're building them basically from the ground up again, and those big blockbusters are a while away, which is why Bethesda and like, if they were going to go after a Square Enix is so like an interesting proposition, because they have games coming out round the clock, like almost like one or two or sometimes more big games a year coming out, you know what I mean, Final Fantasies and stuff. So like that's why Bethesda matters a lot to them. And from Bethesda's aspect of it, they never have to make a Fallout 76 again. They're making games that are purely built around less about how well they sell, how much money they make, and purely how many Games Pass subscribers they drive. And also, I think if Fallout 76 launched day one on Games Pass, it would still be buggy, but I don't think it would have been
as much. Yeah,
as backlash as much. I think Fallout 76 would have actually done reasonably well had it launched on Game Pass day one. And so I think
so too.
Yeah, Bethesda are looking at that as well. So yeah, it's both sides thing.
Yeah, it's a weird free pass. What Game Pass is now? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, all right, I have Game Pass. Here's Fallout 76. It's buggy as hell, but you know what else I have? Fallout 3, Doom. I got other games that kind of balance that out that I'm only paying $10 to $15 a month for. So yeah, Game Pass has now become this weird, very interesting indie and free pass for a crappy game every now and then.
Yeah. We now must move on to some even more news. This story broke yesterday. Amazon cancels their Lord of the Rings game announced 2 years ago. This is from Schreier over at Bloomberg. Amazon.com Inc.'s embattled video game division has cancelled an online role-playing game based on the fantasy series Lord of the Rings, which was announced in 2019 in another setback for the technology giant. The game has been in development at Amazon Game Studios alongside the China-based Leiyu Technology Holdings, which was purchased by conglomerate Tencent Holdings in December. Tencent, another person who could buy Square Enix. Fair enough.
Sure, yes.
Yeah. It was purchased by Tencent Holdings in December. The resulting contract negotiations led to a dispute between Amazon and Tencent that eventually caused the game's cancellation, said people familiar with the matter, who asked not to be identified because they were not authorized to speak. But yes, it was confirmed by Amazon spokesperson that yes, Tencent bought these people, they couldn't agree about the way the game was going to go, fell apart. I didn't even know Amazon were making this game, but it got cancelled. Yeah. Amazon are cancelling games I didn't even know they were developing.
I saw this come along my feed too. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah,
they're making a Lord of the Rings MMO. Okay, yeah, that was literally how I felt about it. I'm like, all right, that sucks.
Yeah,
chalk another one down, like cross another one off of Amazon's list, and keep on going with life.
Yeah. The cancellation follows a string of bad news for Amazon Game Studios, which has been unable to release a successful video game since launching in 2014. The company has cancelled previously announced games like Breakaway and Crucible. Another of its games, New World, has been delayed repeatedly. Also, no, I don't have a source on this, but I did see on Twitter that Wario64 was looking at wondering, do you just wait like, hey, whatever happened to that Pac-Man live world or whatever that people were making for Twitch, Amazon were making for Twitch, that sort of just like went nowhere, and then apparently that site now goes to a 404 error, so guess that's cancelled as well. John, we talk a lot about on this show about how Amazon just keep stumbling over every block. It's like the gif of Sideshow Bob where he keeps stepping on the Rex, and it's just like, cancelled game. Ugh.
Like, I loved your tweet about it too. Like, how do you screw up a Pac-Man game?
Yeah. Pac-Man 99 came out. It's not hard. It's Pac-Man. It's out there.
I truly don't understand that one. And I'm like, okay, well, sucks. I actually completely forgot about New World. I've pulled it up right now on my computer just to see it. And I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know.
The game that released and then went into early access after it released, and then said, no, we're just going to pull it back. Because this isn't even acceptable for an early access game.
Well, I just signed up to become a tester for it, so let's find out.
You'll be playing on Luna, I imagine.
I might have to actually order my Luna controller.
The best experience. I wonder, who was like wanting a Lord of the Rings MMO in 2021?
Yeah,
or beyond.
Which is really funny because Amazon's coming out with a Lord of the Rings TV show.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know it's Tencent and they couldn't agree on it, but that's kind of sucks for Amazon, really, because you could have literally had, hey, we got a new TV show, we've got a new game, everyone go nuts.
Do you think someone else picks up the Lord of the Rings contract? Do you think, this is a bet, we're doing a bet, it's a shorter term bet than we're used to, but still a ways out. Do you think a new Lord of the Ring game gets announced at E3 2021?
No? Absolutely not. No.
You don't think they could have had another game like licensed out that IP to that isn't an MMO?
If we hear anything about Lord of the Rings, it's going to be that weird Gollum game. That's it.
The Gollum game! I can't wait for the Gollum game. You reminded me of that. Oh, I can't wait for the Gollum game.
That is what we're going to get, is the Gollum game.
It's going to be ass. It's going to be so good. It's going to be ass. I gotta look up the trailer for that Gollum game. What's the latest update? Chat, get me an update on the Gollum game.
I need to know about this Gollum game. I need to know
about the Gollum game.
Gollum looks like he was in Fortnite. I'm not even lying. The picture they showed, I'm like, this is just Fortnite characteristics. It's gonna be weird.
John, you mentioning the Gollum game was like a friend of mine died, and then he just turned up at my door one day and knocked and said, "Hey, what's happening?" It's like Gollum. My whole life now, until the Gollum game comes out, is about that game. I cannot wait.
It is the strangest looking thing. Who was like, you know what? Lord of the Rings, which came out 20 years ago. I feel old. The movies, at least. Like, you know what we could really go with? I know WB made a couple games, and we really, really like the Nemesis engine. But you know what? We need Gollum.
There was a new trailer on IGN 3 weeks ago, John. We're stopping the podcast. We're watching this trailer.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
John, I'll send you the link. Hold on.
All right. All right. Let me see this. We're going to get a live reaction of us. Oh, God.
Apologies, chat. I need to fuck up the cameras for a bit. This needs to happen. All right.
Oh, my God.
I'm ready to press play on it, right? You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. Daedalic Entertainment. This is a CG trailer. Oh no, it's an engine.
Yeah, this is engine. Okay.
Oh, dude, it's got Uncharted climbing.
Oh my God, what is this?
Yeah, dude, this is gonna be so hype. I wonder, is that the real frame rate? I will wish list now. I will. Oh, there's an after credits. No, just a weird thing. Okay, that game's gonna be fucking tight. God, I can't.
And that
wait
is
for that.
49 seconds you are never going to get back.
Yeah. $60, I imagine, but I'll pay it because I'm a scrub.
Probably. Oh no, actually, I bet you it'll be $70. I think that is
$70. Yeah,
designed for the next gen consoles. I don't think it's coming to PS4 One X.
Is Andy Serkis voicing him? No idea. I hope it's not.
I have no idea.
I hope he has a totally different voice. Hi guys, I'm Go.
How you doing, guys?
Hi, buddy.
I really need to get my precious.
I'm going. Give it a ring. We're nearly done. Another story. There's a PS5 update. It's got storage expansion. You can plug in a USB drive now. With this feature, you can now transfer your PS5 games to the USB extended storage from your console's internal storage. It's a great way to extend your storage capabilities on your PS5 console, and you can seamlessly copy PS5 games back to the console's internal storage when you're ready to play it. It is faster to reinstall PS5 games USB extended storage than to re-download them or copy them from a disc. Because PS5 games are designed to take advantage of the console's ultra-high-speed SSD, PS5 titles can't be played from the USB extended storage. PS5 titles also cannot be directly downloaded from the USB extended storage, or to the USB extended storage. However, games that you transfer or copy back to the internal storage will automatically update. So that's the one, I guess. Okay. As previously announced, the PS5 console will support storage expansion via M2 drives in the future. We're currently working on this feature and we will keep you posted on any updates for the PlayStation blog. How that's not happened yet is beyond me.
So this is fine.
You can copy
I've got a
games
5
back
terabyte.
and forth, but you can't just like plug in a drive. Which, I guess, whatever. It's fine.
I moved a couple when I got the update. I moved a couple of the PlayStation 5 games onto my 4 terabyte external storage, and I was like, cool, I have more space now.
Yeah. Faster than re-downloading a game or copying it from a disc is interesting to me because, it's already pretty fast on the PS5. So, just nice to know. There's also some new social features, including cross-generational share play, request to join game session. There's enhanced controls and personalization options, including improved game base, disable game chat and adjust players' volume, game update pre-download, customize your game library. You can hide things now, which I like because I have a bunch of vast games I don't want to see. Screen zoom, and new trophy settings and stat screen, and the PlayStation app on mobile receives an update too, allowing you to join multiplayer sessions from the app, manage your PS5 storage, compare trophies with friends, and sort and filter products on the PlayStation Store. So, go get that update. What?
Being able to actually, I don't know, take a screenshot and it getting to your phone in a very simple way.
My number one requested feature.
Here, I'll say it. Xbox has got it down pat. I take a screenshot on my Xbox. Guess what? 20 seconds later, it's on my app on my phone. And be like, hey, you can share your screenshot. No, I had to take a screenshot of the Resident Evil 7 or 8 Village demo, and I posted it on Twitter. And then we registered. Oh, Rose has the app. I can just share it to Rose.
Yeah,
and she can text it back.
I used to do the thing like, I don't know if PlayStation, they didn't, right? They ever added back in the Facebook integration. That was a weird story when it happened. But I used to do the thing where you can make a private Facebook post. And so I would privately post all my screenshots to Facebook, download them, then delete the post. That's the way I used to do it. But it definitely needs to be simpler. Just send it to your phone. It's 2021, goddammit.
The only one that's worse is the Switch's version. That is so stupid. I hate it so much.
Mm-hmm. And finally, an update to the story we reported on here a while ago that Nier Automata is getting a Steam update to fix its many problems soon via the Nier game Twitter. They got the green light. Whoever needed to get the green light got it.
Now, enough people bitched, and guess what? You're now getting it on Steam.
It happened. That's all the news to cover from this week. And now we need to move into a very momentous segment, our ending segment, which is the Fantasy Press Conference Ultimate Showdown. Showdown. This is where I tasked John with creating the Ultimate Fantasy Press Conference. Normally, on a week-to-week basis, I will give him several options to choose from based on his decisions will lead to games or announcements getting added to his press conference. I then pick up what John has not picked, and that gets added to my competitor press conference. At the end, we will vote on who has the better press conference. Today, John, is the final segment of Fantasy Press Conference Ultimate Showdown. And of course, that means that we're talking about our one more things. As I mentioned, the way we've been doing this so far is that I give you a list of options to choose from and make weird things from my little mind. You know what? It's a one more thing. This is going to be your brainchild, John. You get to tell me what is your one more thing. You get to have whatever you want in there. It's complete wild card.
Complete wild card.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do this. At the end of my press conference, what's going to happen is the lights are going to go down slow, and slow enough where people are going to be like, where's the one more thing? We all know the one more thing is actually going to happen. The lights just dim down, slow, easy, and you know something's coming. You can feel the anticipation from these lights. People are still cheering. It is almost like an encore. And then out of nowhere, two flashes from the bulbs, flashes start going off. You're like, what is happening? What is happening? Steam starts to actually like come up from the ground. And all you hear is, my body is ready. That's right. My one more thing is, I've got Reggie Fils-Aimé, and I am actually going to give him full reign to make whatever game he wants. He is making his own company, his own development company.
You're making a Reggie
My
Lab?
Body is Ready.
You're making a Reggie Laboratory right now? You're just giving him... Yeah.
Well, no. It's going to be called My Body is Ready Games. That's exactly what it's going to be called. And Reggie's going to come up from the ground. We have to do this right. Like, we're going to show Reggie in every single facet of him with the Reginator. I've bought the stupid little Muppet. He's going to be on stage too.
We need to show every facet of Reggie. That sounded wrong to me. That sounded violating in a way.
And we're going to pull a Nintendo. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And it's just going to be a splash screen of My Body is Ready games.
Yeah.
And the lights go out, and that's it.
Rose is asking for Mother 3. I don't know if you can make that legally, but...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure someone would strike me down from the heavens if I made Mother 3.
You can make Father 4. Legally distinct.
Stepsister 2.
Stepsister 2 is a way different game. So, my one more thing for this conference is I step on stage and I say, you saw a lot of excellent games tonight. Some better than others. Some were cursed, some were blessed. But I assure you that each and every game that was shown tonight at my press conference for Interactive Games were carefully hand-picked, crafted, leaving no stone unturned. And to prove it to you, we have one more project to show you. And so the trailer comes in. It's a CG trailer. And you see the guy who makes the Elden Ring, he's hanging out. And the Bloodborne guy comes rushing in, and he gets the Elden Ring guy, and he gets the Sekiro guy, and they start grappling hooking off into the distance. Hard cut to space. Star Trek ship, I forget what it's called, it's hanging out there in space.
The Enterprise?
The Enterprise, that's the one. I kept wanting to go for the Millennium Falcon, but I knew that wasn't it. That's Star Wars.
I saved your ass.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my brain just kept hitting me with Millennium Falcon. But anyway, it's in space, it hits light speed, it fucking goes shoo, hard cut. See Master Chief and the Marines coming in on the one of the vehicles from Halo. It doesn't matter which one, it's a big one, it's got guns on it. It's coming in there. They're all rolling out. You see hard cut again to Turok riding in on a dino, T-Rex hopefully, and he's just riding in, he's got a saddle on it, he's riding in. Hard cut to Disney Pixar characters all coming in. Minnie's got a grenade launcher, Donald's got a battle axe, Pooh's got a gun. They're all going for it. They're marching in unison. All of these characters come together in one giant battlefield in the center. They have their weapons brandished and they're ready to go. And they start running towards each other for the big final battle. But from the ground, from the heavens, descends Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and he cries, "Stop! There is a better way to settle this. We are not PlayStation All-Stars. We are not Super Smash Bros. We do not need to contest this in a battle royale. We do not need to fight." And then the title screen emerges. Finteractive All-Stars Kart Racing. I'm making
Get
the
out.
greatest ever crossover kart racing game. You know what? DLC, first DLC character is Gollum. That was an addendum that I added just after we discovered it on the show, but that is my one last thing. Finteractive All-Stars Kart Racing. It's got the Miyazaki verse, it's got Star Trek, it's got Halo, it's got Turok for some reason, and it's got Disney and Pixar. Finteractive All-Stars Kart Racing.
Are you just
coming
coming
to
the epic games of kart racing?
Yeah, the financial year 2021. That is my one last thing. You get Reggie, I get a crossover game. That's how we're doing this. John, now that our press conferences are set, and I'll put up a poll in the coming weeks to decide who has the definitive ultimate press conference that you good folks will decide on what you've heard. Now that we have our press conferences set, John, who do you think came out on top personally? Are you going for yours to win this vote? Do you think Reggie was enough? I had some stinkers in there.
I was gonna say you had some stinkers. I'm always gonna vote for myself, but logistically of what we've done, you have had some stinkers. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll have to let the audience decide, John.
Absolutely.
But it was definitely fun making this fantasy press conference. And hey, I bet no matter who wins, E3 will not stack up to what we've made between
Probably
us.
not a chance in hell.
We've got it. If there is any sort of crossover kart racer game, I consider that a win in E3, let alone this nonsense that this Cronenberg Frankenstein's monster. Just nothing tying these games together. Like, Mickey Mouse hanging out with Turok is just the weirdest thing in my head, and they're like racing in karts. By the way, the game is ass. The game is a bad kart racer. Just want to throw that out there.
I like how you all right, we're gonna first DLC is Gollum, but all in all, the game just sucks.
Yeah, we spent too much money on the licensing, and so we had to make like kind of a crappy game, but it's a kart racer, so who cares? It's got Gollum in it, for God's sake. Right. That is going to end it for Fantasy Press Conference all about Showdown. Hate to watch it go. But yeah, next week we'll be back with a new ending segment. Don't know what it's going to be. Haven't thought it up yet, but I have a few ideas. So we'll see what that turns out to be. And yes, I'll put out the poll for who wins our debate. Might bring this back next year. I love talking press conferences. I love fantasy sports stuff, as you know. So yeah, we will see who comes out the victor in this one. And yeah, now we're going to move on to the post-show if you're here on twitch.tv/Playhouse Live as we begin to wrap up this podcast. If you're watching elsewhere, you should know that we do this live every Saturday is when it's normally scheduled on twitch.tv/Playhouse Live at 10 p.m. Central Time. No, sorry, 10 p.m. my time, British Standard Time, British Summer Time. God, I just botched that. Time zones are confusing in my head. 10 p.m. UK time, 4 p.m. Central is when we do this podcast on twitch.tv/Playhouse Live. If you're watching Twitch chat, please stick around for the post show we're going to do where you can ask us questions, and also check us out on YouTube where this podcast gets posted, as well as all of our podcast services like Spotify and all that good stuff. Give us a subscribe on YouTube, please, because it helps us out and you'll never miss a video and one of these episodes of the podcast. But yeah, for the meantime, for those of you not watching on Twitch, it's goodbye until next week.